In this video, I talked to Kathy Weller, who is a lettering artist and illustrator, licensed artist, and she sells her own products very successfully on Etsy. And she has sold her products on many different platforms in the past, and she has settled on Etsy, and she gives us insight into how she combines Etsy and print on demand to sell her very quirky, expressive, wonderful t-shirts and mugs and stickers. So I'm so excited that I got a chance to talk to her and learn more about a subject that I know pretty much nothing about. And I hope you enjoy learning from her as well.
Can you introduce yourself for people who may not be familiar with you?
Yes. Let's shed some light on the situation, shall we?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Here's my ring lights over here. So Kathy Weller. I'm an artist. I specialize in hand lettering. I also do licensing, but I kind of like took a little right turn there. And now I do mostly retail and wholesale with print on demand. And I sell products in my Etsy shop. I have a Etsy shop only now. I used to have a lot of different shops and I would juggle them, but I'm just Etsy now. And my artwork features, or the designs that I sell on my products, they're all pretty much feature my lettering in some way, shape, or form. Some are just like front and center, and sometimes it's like an addition to the design. So, yeah. But it informs every design pretty much. And my lettering is very expressive, and you could even call it experimental. It's not like calligraphy styles that you see. It's different. I love those too, but my stuff is a little different than that. So I primarily started doing mugs. Actually, I shouldn't say primarily, because I started doing, I've done like art prints and all kinds of things, but I didn't really start to like see success until I focused on one product format. And that product format was mugs, is what I chose. And, working with that, I was able to develop like signature style, and that works with my voice, my personality, my brand personality, which is your personality, because we're all our own brands, so
right.
All sort of evolved from there. So
awesome. And so before you did products, did you work as a freelancer, or what did you do before you got into products? Because or how did you get into creating your own products, I should say?
Okay. So when I started, I had a full-time job as a designer and illustrator for, I was working for the Boston Globe, actually, for their online component. Doing sales and marketing for a really long time. I did that. And I had some like chronic pain issues with my wrist and stuff, which kept me from doing my own work on the side, like at nights and weekends and stuff, and building my own business for a long time. So when I was able to finally start doing that, I decided I wanted to jump in to do pet portraiture. So this is like 15 years ago. We're going way back.
So you were way ahead of the curve, because let me tell you, that's a hot market. So that was a good idea, I think, back then.
It's pretty funny how that all kind of works out. But I was actually, when I started doing licensing, I was really hot on pets too. But I think I was a little bit ahead too at that point, because didn't really quite, it was different. And now it's much different. It's like pets have really blown up. Anyway, we're getting off track. So, sorry. So I have a little bit of crib sheet here just so I can stay on track. Okay, so Cafe Press around 15 years ago was like the hot print on demand company.
Yeah, I was on Cafe Press, definitely. Yeah, I had a greeting card line mostly, but yeah, totally.
Well, okay, so what I did was I used Cafe Press as like to amend the services that I could offer my pet portrait clients. So I would put their pet portrait art on products in my Cafe Press store, and they would buy them. And that was really cool, because that was like very novel at the time,
Yeah, good idea.
And then from there, a few years later, and also just like my career evolved too, but then I also went on Society 6 and, from there. So then those other print-on-demand companies started coming up, like Society 6 and Redbubble and Zazzle and all that. So I actually think Zazzle it might have come right after Cafe Press, but anyway, so yeah, so it
started as your pet portrait, offering something extra to your clients, and then you got interested in that and start to see the way about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
I want to actually interject, because when I started doing art licensing shows, I also used print on demand to showcase my art on products before I even had art on products. So it was really, really good for that. And that was right around the time when like people who were doing licensing were like, it was like people didn't know what to make of print on demand, and they didn't know whether it was a good idea or a bad idea or like where it fit. So yeah, but you
were ahead of the curve. I can tell you're kind of ahead of the curve person. I can tell this. I love it. So I saw, and you kind of touched on this slightly, but I saw in one of your bios that when you zeroed in on designing mugs specifically, you found the power of the niche, which I absolutely love, because focus is kind of everything. It's so easy to get distracted. That's why I know nothing about this topic, because I've been trying to like do one thing at a time, and so tell me a little bit more about, was there a point when you realized that focusing on this one thing, and this is what you wanted to focus on, that this was really a powerful thing?
Yes. So when I started, so let me back up a little bit. I'm just trying to think of like where I should begin so I was on Society 6, and I found my art on some Instagram site that was selling it. So I realized that somehow somebody was art there. I don't know how it happened or whatever, but I didn't like the way they handled it. So I was like, I'm out of here. And a friend of mine helped me. Like she pointed me in the direction of my mug company that I work with still to this day. So I wanted to, at the time, it was like all there was marketplace sites, but I was like, I think I want to do it on my own, because I don't really trust anybody. I don't really trust these people. So
yeah, that's fair.
These marketplace sites, because I didn't have a good experience with that one. So I thought, well, I'm going to just try and do it on my own. And so I signed up with my mug company, and I've been with them ever since. And when I started doing mugs, I had an Etsy store since like 2007, but it was like, at times it was dormant, because I would have a Society 6 store at the same time. Or I had a Shopify store for a long time too. So it was like, it's almost like you have competing stores in a way, which is not good ultimately, because you're like competing against yourself. Even if you're selling, different things on different stores, it's still like, I don't know. It's a big question, that's like a big conversation for another day probably. But I found that when I had a Shopify store and an Etsy store, I'm like, this is just not working out. It's just like too much. So anyway, when I started working with my mug company, and when I started doing print on demand, like when I made that decision to go off of Society 6 and just to focus, I just wanted to focus on one product, because I thought, that's really the way for me to focus on like really fully bringing my aesthetic and like my into one product format, because it's like I can get very sidetracked and very like all over the place. And I'm sorry, you know what? There's like they're doing construction outside, and it's like really annoying.
Super distracting. I can't hear it if that makes any difference. But
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh no.
But I found that for me, it was the best way to avoid overwhelm and to just focus on one format. Because I think when you have one format, you can learn how to do it the best way.
Yes.
That works with what you have to give. So a lot of my stuff is emotional and is like self-talk and like self-improvement. And also a lot of my stuff is focused on loving other people and like letting other people know that you appreciate them, right? So that's just sort of a lot of what my focus is of my themes. And so it just, when you have one thing to focus on, it just quiets the rest of everything. I find that print on demand is kind of a double-edged sword because there's so many product formats, and it's like, it can really overwhelm people, and they want to put everything on everything.
Yes, yes.
They want to put their art on everything. And that, it's like, I forget what they say about too many choices. Analysis paralysis is one, or just jack of all trades, master of none, right? So if you're focusing on one, you're getting better and better at what works for mugs. You're seeing the mug market more clearly. And as you get better at that and understand that, then once you're like, really great at that, then you can obviously, see what other products, or maybe then you have built up a clientele, or, fans who say, I love these mugs so much, but, oh, if only I had a tote bag or whatever. And then you can, consider, but. Yes. And what else kills me? I actually I had it written down exactly why I chose to do that. And I can't find it right now, but yeah, it's exactly why. There's for all those reasons.
Right. And the other thing I wanted to go back to, just for people who might not know, and I didn't really know until we were talking about this before. But so the difference between print on demand marketplaces and just print on demand. So print on demand marketplaces are the places where they create your art on products, and they're also a place to sell it, right? So that's the Red Bubbles, that's the Spoon Flowers, that's the Society 6 things. And you were saying that, for Society 6, you saw a little bit of, copyright infringement happening or whatever, people being able to take your artwork, and that was not a great thing. Obviously not a great thing. But the print on demand type thing that you do at this point is you have it printed behind the scenes, and then you're putting your products on your Etsy. So this is a question that I didn't ask you before, but does that mean that you have stock in your house, or do you like order a few to take pictures of, and then when people order, then you send it out directly from there, or how does that work?
Okay. So I do a design, and I do a group of designs, and I copyright them, or I copyright them before I sell them. But I order a mug for myself most of the time, not all the time. And so I have one at home so I can take pictures of it, or although I use mock-ups too, do video, because now there's videos in your ads on Etsy, which is cool.
Ooh, so, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I just want to also clarify between marketplace, like how Etsy's called a marketplace. People call Etsy the handmade marketplace, right? But then there's marketplace sites, which is the print on demand marketplace sites. These are two totally different things. Etsy is like your own shop, right? So you do everything. You do all the stock. There's API, which is application programming interface, which is that's like the tool that print on demand companies use that's like the back end,
like the algorithm type stuff, and like the search engine type stuff. Yeah.
Yep. How they connect it to your Etsy store. I don't want to get off track either, but something just slipped up there. So Etsy being called a marketplace site is not the same thing at all as marketplace print on demand sites. Those are sites that sell, that you post your art on their products formats, and then well,
and then people can see the products, and then they can order it, and they make them, they ship them, you don't touch them. All you're doing is putting your digital work onto the site, basically.
Yep. They produce, ship, pack everything for you, and everything is retail. You can't do wholesale through them. You can't take those products and sell them on your own website or somewhere else. That's your little home. That's your little retail shop on their site. Whereas Shopify or Etsy I should say Etsy, because we're talking about how Etsy's called a handmade marketplace, but it's really just it's like your own store on Etsy.
So you can, yes, and you can put whatever you want on there. So you're getting products made behind the scenes and putting them on your shop. And then, so you get one mug made, for example, to take pictures. But then when someone orders from you, are you able to just tell your maker, your print on demand contact, like, okay, now send a mug to that person?
Yep. So for my mug company, they don't have an Etsy API. There are a lot of Etsy APIs that you can use, like Printful. I do my t-shirts with Printful and they have that. But an API is not it's not like the end all be all. You still have to watch your orders because mistakes happen all the time. You know, accidents happen. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
always have to keep your eye on your orders regardless, which is why I know APIs are great, but I don't think they're like everything. And I think there's a lot of pros and cons between the different types of print on demand partners that you can use. And some of them have APIs and some of them don't, but yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So the thing that I was trying to get to, which we got to, was that you don't have like a box full of every design of your mugs in your back room or whatever.
No.
You don't have to worry about that. That is still, and that's the benefit of print on demand, is that you don't have to have that stock and hope that you sell, you know, whatever, a case of a certain design.
Right, right. And, you know, yes, I do have way too many mugs in my house, but
but that's just a hobby.
I don't ship them from here because shipping mugs is like so expensive. It's like, so you really have to, when you're shopping for your print on demand partner, you also really have to keep a close eye on what they charge for shipping, because that can be a make or break, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've broken down print on demand companies into 4 different types. So of the 4 types, there's the single source, the marketplace site, which is like we just discussed, this direct to retail storefront, the integrated print on demand company, which I consider like a Printful, which, you know, we are their audience. They don't have a retail marketplace. They have their focus is on customers like us and using an API for Etsy or Shopify and having customers like us, smaller customers, and then they cater to us.
Mm-hmm.
And the integrated aggregator, which is a company like Guten, somebody who offers one-stop shopping for lots of different single source or integrated print on demand companies. So you get to kind of with Guten, I don't think you get to pick and choose. With Printify, I think you can pick and choose who you use, but that means you can order like lots of different products from lots of different suppliers in one order.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Yeah. I didn't really know. I mean, I've heard of Guten, but I didn't know that's how they worked. So that's interesting.
It's very confusing. It's very I'm going way into too much detail.
No, it's good. People are interested in this because I don't know anything about this. And it's like, when I think print on demand, all I'm thinking of is Redbubble and like Spoonflower and Society6 pretty much. So like, to know that there are so many different options is so interesting. So one question that I had is, I know you also license your work, right? Have you found that doing the print on demand and that side of your business feeds into your licensing, or vice versa, or are they totally 2 different separate things?
I would say yes and no, which is not helpful.
Totally. That's the kind of answers I give. Don't worry about it.
It is true because, yes, because for one thing, a lot of people who license artwork see what I'm doing in my shop or just on social media, and that is how they will find me and say, hey, I want that, or I want something like that. So I think visibility is really important, because really people who purchase licensed art are looking for artwork on the web.
Right. They're looking.
Whether you know it or not. Also, I think it's good because it puts your own voice out there, because everything I do in my shop is like my voice, which when you're licensing, it's not like that all the time. You know, I mean, if you don't like llamas, you're probably not going to do like a llama collection, right? But everything is so trend driven and is so, you know, what's hot now and everything. So like colors and everything is so focused on trend, and it's not always the way that, like, you know, some of us just have sort of a,
you have your own style that you want to express, and it doesn't have to be focused on trends, right? Yeah. So being able to have that Etsy shop where you show exactly what you love and what you feel, that's a great opportunity. It
just helps people to see your aesthetic and to see your themes and stuff. And, you know, if they're into that, and then they can always contact you, and you guys can build something based on your, you know, aesthetic and your themes and stuff that you use all the time. I mean, you think about artists like I think of Katie Daisy and I think of Katie Abbey. These are two really huge, very amazing artists that I love that are on Etsy and do very well there. But when you look at their stores and you look at all their artwork, it's all very much like evergreen, their style, their voice, you know, their themes. And it's not like licensing, you know what I mean? So, but one can scratch the back of the other. For instance, my Cats at Work, I have a comment called Cats at Work, which now I do sometimes, but I used to do it all the time. And when I launched it, I actually was able to have interest in licensing for Cats at Work even before I brought it to Surtex. I showed it at Surtex the first year, back when I was doing Surtex, and it was one of my main things that I showed in my booth, but I had already had interest before even getting in my booth because of social media, you know, and that's kind of not even here nor there because that's like a character brand. So that's kind of off. I mean, what I'm talking, like when we're talking about licensing, we're talking primarily about, like, you know, surface pattern design and stuff, because it's not, you're not usually going to show a character brand in a booth, but I did. So, yeah. So
awesome.
It all helps.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, things do overlap like that. I almost go the opposite way with my freelance work and my art licensing. It's like I create work for my art licensing portfolio. That's the work that you're always seeing on my Instagram because it's the work that I own and that I can show freely. And then, but that shows people, and that development shows people that I can do client work, right? And so my art licensing portfolio kind of feeds my, you know, that's how I get clients for freelance work. And I can definitely see how your products would, you know, show that you're, you know, a good bet for licensing work. So that's, I love it when you can kind of get that overlap, right? So we sort of already talked about the differences between places like Spoonflower, Redbubble, and Etsy. So, I guess I would like to ask why, you know, I know you said you've had different shops before, with Shopify and different things, but I know now you're all in on Etsy. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you kind of came to that, like that idea? Yeah.
And it's actually, important for people who use print on demand to know this, because if you have, say you had, like, I had a Shopify store and my Etsy store, and I used Printful on both of them. And Printful has an API, so you can build your listings on through. You can stream them through. So on Printful, you can have an Etsy store or an Etsy inventory, and then you can have your
Shopify. No, it's confusing. We need like a whiteboard back here to draw the the connections.
So my point is that, like, you can't create one listing and just stream it to two different stores.
Oh, okay.
You have to create separate listings for each store, which makes sense and is fine unless you have like 500 mugs. Then you're like in a little bit of a pickle. I don't have 500. Well, I probably do, but they're not all live. But I have, like, one of the things I like to do is to have a lot of designs up at once. Like, that's part of my thing. That's kind of part of my aesthetic, is just like, you know, like you're,
yeah. I do know. I've seen your shop. I know.
20 and, you know, they rotate and whatever. When I release, I do call once in a while, but I don't end design after 4 months. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's print on demand. You don't have to do that. You know, it's not having product manufactured in China and then, you know, you have it and then you have to go and get some more or something. It's not like that. So that opens up, you know, new doors and stuff. And also sometimes on different stores, it takes time for your listing to get traction in the SEO. So I know for my Etsy listings, I really need to like give it a good couple months, honestly, like at least 1 month before things start like popping. You know what I mean? Before like people start really, you know, it doesn't happen like that. You know, it's like it takes sort of matriculate into the system. Oh, so I'm sorry, I'm getting off track again. So
don't worry about it. I would have pulled you right back in. Don't worry. I was letting you finish. But so focusing on Etsy, you were saying through Printful, you had to have multiple listings and it was getting kind of wild.
When I had Shopify, and the thing about the Shopify is like they both cost money, but Etsy is bringing you customers. Like you are getting the benefit of the Etsy audience. And I know like a lot of people gripe about Etsy, like it costs money to have a store, period. Like, it's going to cost money no matter where your store is. And my Shopify store, while I loved it, it ended up kind of like, and I did okay on it, but I needed to do better for the time, the effort, the time I was putting into it. I couldn't, in good conscience, not drive traffic to both stores because my Etsy store always made more money for me than my Shopify store. Like I always got more sales through my Etsy than I did through my Shopify by and large. I'm not talking about like if I did some big promotion thing on my
Shopify. Yeah.
I wanted the Shopify store to be like, this is brand central. This is my flagship. Okay. But it's a lot of work to consistently and constantly drive traffic to your Shopify store. And I love Shopify, everybody. I love it. It's great. There's so much you can do. You can just like blow the roof off and do whatever you want on your Shopify store. And you can, but you know, if you're not like all in on the promotion, the marketing, and like, if that's not really like
constantly bringing in a new audience, whereas Etsy brings in its own audience, right? Is that
it is? And you like the cool thing that I found about being on Etsy, like consistently working on Etsy for a few years now, like since I probably really started focusing 2014, I would say. So about 6 years that I've been but part of that time I was on other stuff too. I mean, I really only ended my shop. I closed my Shopify store last year. So the entire time I've been on Etsy, you've
been splitting your work. Yeah. So now in the last year, how has that made a big like leap? Or is it still like a steady, slow increase?
It's so hard to tell because it has increased. Absolutely. But it is, it's been like it's kind of like,
and also 2020, right? Like it's hard to say it's not a normal year, so it would be hard to judge anyways.
Not in this year. This is crazy, but I will admit, and I'm saying this because it's happening soon. I'm having a new mug collection coming up very soon, but I have not had a mug collection this year yet, and it is almost November, which is crazy. I know. I did release a new product format earlier this year, though, which I've been consistently adding to, which is stickers, but I haven't done a mug release this year yet until.
And how often do you usually do that? Is it like twice, 3 times a year?
Yeah, I try and do it like twice. I like to think I'm going to do it like 3 times a year, but I really only do it twice a year. This year I
hey man, it's okay. In case you didn't know, it's absolutely okay.
I had some other stuff going on too. I had some health stuff that
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I had some like major stuff, like operation stuff. So I'm good, but that took up a lot of my energy too. So
right. So that focus is going to make it easier, especially in the future. Right now, you don't have exactly the stats of like a major. It's going well, but it's not like necessarily double now that you've closed one store or anything like that.
That's a good question. No, I wouldn't say double. I mean, I've definitely done better. I don't have my stats in front of me.
No, don't worry about it. I was just, sort of summarizing that it's improving, but we'll have to, it takes a little more time to see.
Oh, plus like things, I mean, yes. I think that I think that I probably have gotten, I sound so stupid right now. I'm so sorry, you guys. My mind's in so many different places because my wholesale is growing too. So it's like, what part's growing, what part's not? But no, the Etsy has definitely improved since I closed my Shopify store. But I guess, what's funny? I just haven't thought about it recently because my wholesale's grown so much just over the past year. And I've just like been focused on other stuff. Because I've been working on this print on demand class for a while too. So I'm just like, I have like so many things going on, but I'm just trying to focus on my mugs right now, getting my mug collection done. But yeah, we're just talking about this subject over and over. Yeah, this year has definitely.
The focus has been helpful. It sounds like.
My income from Etsy has gone up too since I closed my Shopify store, but it is like early for me to tell that because I think it's just been a year. So, and then all that weird stuff. So
takes a while. So, first I want to, somebody asked a question here. I think I actually have a couple questions, but you found your sticker. Do you find that your sticker sales cannibalize your mug sales or do they compete for customers?
That's a really good question. And that's something that that has been a thought bubble in my head, but I don't think so because the price point. So the way I look at my stickers is my stickers are a gateway. They're a gateway drug to Kathy Weller.
Love it.
So stickers are really, they're very low in price. So I can gain a new customer quickly with the sticker. And if I can provide like a beautiful experience for them buying just a sticker, then I know they will be back to shop with me again. And I think, first of all, stickers are awesome, right? They're really inexpensive. It's really nice to mix up your price points in your store. And stickers are something that I have printed myself. So I like to, for my print on demand, for the health of my store, basically, and also to help my business. I think it helps to have your hands in both. I think it helps to have your print on demand and have that be fulfilled through your print on demand company. Certain things that you can't do at home, and you make up for things where they lack. Like that's what I do. So. I can't go into detail on that here because
it'll take a lot. Yeah, no. But it's good to have the two different price points too. I think that's a good point. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it's easy to store stickers. Like it's easy to have inventory and it's easy for me to mail them here. So that's like one thing I can sell in my store that's a low price point, which it's the lowest price point I have. And it's really good to mix it up because then you can gain new, fans that way. You can gain a new audience that way. And, I don't think that I should say I don't know, but I really don't think it does. I don't think it equalizes. And also I think there's certain art that is just for my mugs that I don't put on stickers because I can't, or it's just not appropriate for us.
Doesn't make sense.
So,
yeah.
In terms of just the theme and also the size. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's fine. So I wanted to ask, what tips, what tip would you give? Like, what's your number one tip? Maybe would you give someone who has a few cool ideas? So, because Oh, wait, I didn't give a preamble. I have a couple of cool ideas, Kathy. No, I've been thinking about some products that I would be interested in making. It's at the bottom of my to-do list, so I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon, but mainly the reason I wanted to make it is because I want it for myself. And I was like, well, if I want it, somebody else probably wants it. So what tip would you give someone like me who has a couple cool ideas and thinks that maybe it could be a good product? And would that be different advice than you would give to someone who is ready to start their like print on demand empire?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you already have a shop, you have a shop now and you just want to like get something for yourself. If you think it's commercially viable at all, then I would really start to think about like if that would be appropriate for other people. And if so, then you would say, you know, then you would, there's like the U box and then there's like the everybody else box. So if you just want to get something for yourself, I would just keep it out of your online shop, get it, see how you like it, and then think, is it something that I would want to develop for, you know, would I want to make a line, like a few of these? Would I want to, what would it feed for somebody else? Like who would be the audience for this? And why would they like it? What box is this checking for them? You know, like what problem is this solving for them? Could you make 4 designs out of this? And, you know, and craft them together in your store as like a little collection. I mean, there's different ways to approach it. So if you, and, you know, is it something that you could easily fit into a trend or put into a different, so you see, it's like a different brain. It's like, I mean, you always want to do stuff that you like. You always want to do stuff that, as artists, right? I mean, obviously we're in this because we love the art and we love to, you know, share our art with other people and stuff. It's not the thing that kind of twists my brain a little bit about licensing. And I love licensing too, but it's kind of like the thing is, you can get very kind of focused on what's trend and lose sight of like, or what people are asking of you and lose sight of like you. And
right.
The beauty of you as an artist is like doing your own thing. But if you can mesh the two in a seamless kind of way, that's really cool, but it doesn't always happen that way. And I think it's hard. It's hard to sometimes when you're really, really deep in like building your portfolio and licensing and stuff and thinking about what other people want to buy and thinking about trends and forecasting and stuff, it can get really, I mean, I know I can go down a rabbit hole personally and it can really make me like question my own artistic
aesthetic. Yeah.
That's like hard because then you're like having you're having like a crisis, you know?
I get it.
It's also why it's really good to do stuff like what I'm doing, like have your own thought, because it kind of keeps you tethered to yourself a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
It keeps you, so actually that dovetails nicely with your question because you're talking about if you want to design something just for yourself or if you think other people would like it too. Well, that is really 2 separate questions and they can merge, but I would say, proceed with like thoughtfulness and intention. So if you're thinking about doing something for an audience and you really like it, you know, just be a kind art director to yourself, creative director to yourself. Don't twist your own aesthetic too much. But the cool thing too about print on demand is you can just like try stuff. And you can just try something, and if it's not working for you, you can get out of there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's what I kind of would think, you know?
Yeah, you can test the waters, and you don't have to overanalyze and overthink things to death like I do tend to do this sometimes.
But I like what you said about, you know, thinking about what box does it check for other people and what, you know, thinking about what the audience and who might be the person it would make sense for. And so that's something to that's like a good tip for people to consider when they're creating work, right? Or creating for their print on demand. It's like, how is this, helping someone or making them, what is the reason that they would press purchase on this?
Yeah. And you kind of have to frame it like think about it as like a greeting card or something. Like who are you talking to? Who's the giver? Who's the receiver? What's the message? What do you want that person to feel? What is it saying for them? Like, what is my shirt expressing for me today? Right? Greetings from Hermit Island, right? What is this expressing that I like to stay home? And it doesn't really, I'm pandemic or not, right? So what is it saying for you? And is it expressing it in a way that's like, that the person wants to express it, And I think you just have to kind of look at everything in that when you're designing for other people. And it's not easy. Trust me.
No, yeah. Well, that's where the focus, I think, comes in of because then you're getting a little bit more to the bottom of it. You can try things within a small set. If you're trying things and you're trying to figure out what people want out of a shower curtain and out of a throw pillow and out of a mug and out of a greeting card and out of a phone case, that is a lot of variables, right? So picking one or two starting products and then figuring out what people want in a mug and some stickers is a little bit more doable, don't you think?
I do. I actually think, and I always kind of go back to this, what do you love the most? And what do you like? I like emotional purchases. So I like mugs. Mugs nobody needs another mug. Nobody needs another t-shirt, but they express something for us. And it is for you to express your appreciation and caring for another person. So, where that takes me is I'm going to make a mug actually, let me back up. I have a mug for working out. So reasons to work out mug. And then on this mug, I have, positive energy surge, self-esteem, these things that maybe we don't want to say them out loud and stuff, but it's cute on a mug if you design it right, and then you can do your little self-talk in the morning with your mug. So I'm doing physical therapy right now because I just had a hip replacement. So I'm going to do a physical therapist mug for my physical therapist. Similar to the workout mug, because the workout mug is really popular. And I know that it checks a box for a lot of people. Like, it's happy, but it also, self-talk, these kind of self-improvement
affirmations and stuff. Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be like you can say something meaningful and heavy or emotional, but in a fun, bright way that is energizing and light on your feet. It doesn't always have to be you can, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can express some
deep stuff
things. Yeah. But in a fun, bright way, and I'm just deeply in appreciation of my physical of my so I'm gonna make a mug for her.
Oh, she's gonna love that.
I think drawing on the things that you love. I mean, that's how I picked mugs and t-shirts. And quite honestly, I love t-shirts. I'm gonna continue to do t-shirts, and I adore doing t-shirts, and I have good success with t-shirts. It's kind of an 80-20 rule with t-shirts, right? And it really is. But I pick stuff that I have an emotional connection to, mostly to design for. So, and I think for me, that's my happy place, I mean, and designing, drawing from life, for example, the physical therapist thing, or Hermit Island. I like to do that. I like to draw from personal experience, and also from just things that I love. And that's kind of my sweet spot. I mean, somebody else's might be something else, but things don't often stick around in my store if it's not something that I'm nuts about. For instance, I tested out a lunchbox, which is fine. Lunchboxes are great. And I love them. I actually used to carry them as purses, but this particular lunchbox wasn't like my favorite design. But I didn't keep it in my store because it just wasn't doing well. And I didn't really design for it. You know what I mean? Because somebody asked me for something with a lunchbox, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I took it out because it's just like, I'm just not passionate about it. I'm not going to put my energy into it. I think it's good to put your energy into something like into a focus. What? Yeah.
Thank you.
Like, so, because then you get known for something too, and that's powerful. You know, if you're doing it in a way that you love to do it and it's gaining notice, like that's a powerful thing. So,
yeah. I love it. Well, I see that we have a couple questions, but I wanted to first, because I know we're getting towards the end. I know we just like scratched the surface. You've been doing this for so long. You have so much information. And in fact, I see a question here that I am going to ask you after, but you were telling me that you are kind of compiling all this information. You mentioned it a little bit earlier to put it into a course. And so when can we like expect that, or what is the, what are you planning to kind of cover in that upcoming course?
Okay. Thanks for asking. There's like so many classes like on Etsy or on print on demand, but my focus is that, we're independent artists and we usually do work with our hands, and we have our very precious aesthetic. Most of the time we're very like protective of it, but print on demand is very much like, it's like a assembly line, it feels like. And the general print on demand experience for sellers is that we're working with these companies that, we don't know we don't have any control over things. Right.
Right.
So I am designing a course for artists with an Etsy shop who want to use print on demand in a thoughtful and intentional way that really supports and empowers their creative voice and aesthetic and their brand personality. So what's very important to me is filling in the gaps where print on demand can't or won't, but doing it in a way that's, very like holistic, I guess you could say, with your customer experience. Because I think it's really, really important customer experience. And I think like every different part of your, of the lifeline of a sale, of a sale that you make with your customer is like another opportunity to like wow your customer with your entire aesthetic and like experience with you. So yeah.
I love that.
So
did you say you were aiming for the beginning? Is it, have you started making it yet, or you just have the outline, or? Okay.
I've actually been in progress for a while, but I've had such a weird timeline this year with some situations. So I'm shooting for January to February 2021. Hopefully, I mean, if I could do it before then, that would be great. But that's what I'm shooting for now, because I really have to also get a mug collection out, and I am just one person. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that will be exciting. Follow, if you don't already follow Kathy, definitely follow Kathy. I see a couple questions. Would you mind if we ask? Do you have a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. A few questions. I see. Heather is asking, when you choose a printer supplier for your products, what are a few things you might look for from them? So choosing, what are some of like the top things? Oh,
okay. Well, for the first thing, my favorite thing is to work with somebody who's single source. So that means that they're not farming out my orders to other print on demand companies. So I like to work with what I like to call a single source print on demand company, which is they work from one. It's just like Printful is a single source. They also fall into the integrated print on demand company in my bucket list, but they have their own printing facilities. I use Spoke Custom for my mugs. They have their own printing facilities, and they only have one printing facility. So what that does for me is it makes it much easier if there's an issue. I can go direct to that source and they can get to the bottom of it so it doesn't happen again, or it's just easier for them to address the problem. It also oftentimes, not all the time, because Printful has several different locations in the world, but I find their customer service to be very good. It makes it, if it's single source, I find that I have a good experience with customer service in terms of customer being me. I'm the customer. They're, that is buying from them. And
right.
I have a better rapport with and more communication, clearer communication with companies that are single source. So that's number one. That's like the first thing, but then you want to, obviously you got to have good quality, and then you want to check the shipping costs, and you want to check out how they ship things. I like to have somebody that I can communicate with there. So there's like a number of different things.
There's a list. Yeah, no, those are excellent things to think about. Let's see, what do you use Etsy ads to promote your shop?
No.
Okay. It's all you. And Elizabeth asked the question, we kind of covered this. Do you ship everything yourself from your Etsy shop, or do manufacturers ship directly? And the answer to that we said was they ship directly from there.
And companies do. But I do think I personally like to also offer products that I ship from my studio, because I think that helps to layer the customer experience in a more rich way for my customers, because when you're shipping things from your studio, you can control what goes in the package, and you can really wow your customers with different types of, packaging and communication that way, but that you can't always get when you're using print on demand. So,
but that makes sense. And so you do that for your stickers then, right?
Yep. Stickers
and then right, and then the mugs come from, so you don't have a stock of mugs in your office. That was kind of something we talked about earlier. All right. Well, this has been there's so much more to print on demand than I realized, and that I'm sure a lot of people realize, because like I said, when I first hear that term, I always think of like Redbubble or Zazzle or all that kind of stuff. So it is obviously a much deeper topic. Where can people, well, obviously your Instagram, but are there any places that you would send people if they are new to you to check out?
Yeah, definitely. All right. Okay. I have if you want to sign up for more details on the print on demand class that I'm working on, go to bit.ly/POD for artists. That's the link for that. My YouTube channel, where I do videos on print on demand and just on Etsy, and also just fun art videos. Art
stuff. Yeah, I love your YouTube. I followed, that's how I originally started following you, I think, is from your YouTube channel. So she has a lot of great artists, creative business kind of, or just, tips in general.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I've been talking more and more about print on demand, and I have several Printful videos on there, so you can see what the t-shirt quality is like. Honestly, it's Printful. I just think their quality on t-shirts, and I just opened a package from TeePublic, who I also really like TeePublic there, but the quality is very up and down because they're not single source. They have different manufacturers, and I've gotten great stuff from there, and then I've gotten sad. No. I got a pack of sad t-shirts, and I'm hopefully they'll send me some new ones. I sent them an email today and I'm going to make a video on it to let people know, because I think it's important that the more we all know, the smarter we
Yes. So, that I am big on transparency. Let's just talk about it. Why be secretive? Let's just get there faster by talking about it, right?
Yes, totally.
So I love that. And so, yeah, go your link in, I'm sure you have a link in your bio that sends to your website or whatever, or has all these type of links in there. So your YouTube.
My YouTube is Kathy Weller Art. My Etsy shop is Kathy Weller Art. elizabethshop.etsy.com. You can go there. Or is it Etsy? Yeah. Anyway.
Whatever. They'll find it. They know how to Google. If you guys can't Google, I swear.
Kathy Weller, actually. I have that URL. So yeah, just go to Shop Kathy Weller to see my stuff. And I'm here on Instagram. So definitely.
She is on the gram. And if you guys are coming from Kathy's side, if you're just being introduced to me, I do art licensing. I teach about surface pattern design and product, art for products, and about creative business. And you can get trends for surface pattern design and creative business tips from my newsletter, which comes out twice a month. And that is at elizabethsilver.com/fresh. So sign up for that.
Oh, good. I love your emails.
Oh, thank you.
Great emails. So good. So much good info.
You heard it here first. Anyways, it was so good to talk to you, Kathy. I'm so glad to have learned more about this topic. And I'm sure that anyone who is interested has not only picked up some great tips, but now they know they can go to your YouTube and learn more about, where you analyze kind of some of the different manufacturers and all the different stuff, that you have on your YouTube videos. So that's a treasure trove for people.
There we go. Thank you so much to Kathy Weller for joining me. And as you heard her say at the end, you should definitely subscribe to my newsletter, which is elizabethsilver.com/fresh. And you can subscribe to this YouTube channel too, because I'm regularly dropping new videos.